Welcome to the Sports Bros Podcast, featuring the almighty B-Live, the money man Scotty D, and your host, the head of creative Eddie Cool. The Sports Bros Podcast, by the fan, for the fan, talking sports just the way you like it. And without any further ado, let's give it up for the Sports Bros. We talking sports. It's Tuesday, and you know what that means. It's time for another episode of your favorite sports podcast, none other than Them Damn Sports Bros Podcast, or That Damn Sports Bros Podcast. Any way you want to put it, here it is. We right here. We in your face like bad breath in the morning. I go by the name of Eddie Cool, a.k.a. the HOC. And as always, thank you for listening, watching, rating, reviewing, subscribing. Go ahead and do all that. Check out the Linktree link in our description box and listen to the end of the show, and I'll tell you what to do, all right? But enough of my incoherent rambling. I can't do this by myself. I've tried. It just ain't as fun because Scotty D don't get on my nerves as bad as he does to be live. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. I have two best co-hosts in the world. Introducing first, the almighty Be Live.
What's happening? What's going on in the world today?
Here we go.
Scotty D, you're old. Go ahead and introduce the other guy.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No,
go ahead. I'm gonna start off episode 250 in protest. I ain't gonna say nothing. You want to introduce me as himself or whatever? Go ahead.
This is going to be good.
Go ahead. Keep going. I'm gonna introduce you. Go ahead. You got the floor.
So what the hell am I doing?
What? You just being there with your big forehead. What's happening?
And then closing. No, but go ahead, be live.
Oh man, what's happening? What's going on in the world today? Episode 250. Yo.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. 250 times we have met and we talked about sports from a fan's perspective. Man, oh man, what a roller coaster of a ride. And we are not stopping anytime soon. And this, I guarantee you, will be a juggernaut of a show. And then we got to introduce the other guy. The fulfill contractual obligations, and it just, I guess, just sort of has to be this way. And
it's tough to handle this fortune and fame. Everybody's so different. I haven't changed. Thank you, guys. Thank you for that warm introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, the money man, Scotty D.
And welcome to Scott Donnelly and the Sports Bros podcast.
No, I knew
we've got a great show for you today, and I also wanted to thank Tony Bogan. The new episode of Tapped In with Tony coming out today is featuring none other than the money man Scotty D on that episode.
Nice.
So I'll share that later as the day goes on.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, shout out to Tony Bogan, man. Tony, you got to come on the podcast, man, and talk some sports with your bros here at the Sports Bros Podcast. Fellas, everybody feeling good? Everybody got a chance to celebrate their moms this weekend, Mother's Day weekend. I had the joy of not going to work, and people are like, "What? Get out of it! Don't worry about it. It's a personal day, if you will. I know my mom's watching down on me from heaven and proud of me more than ever. So, happy Mother's Day. I'll say that.
And she's mad at B-Live for making fun of your forehead, not even a whole minute into the show.
No, she's not.
She probably got a cigarette dangling from her lip. Anyway, Saturday, there's this one time when B-Live came to the hop. No, I'm not even going to do that. And with that being said, let's go ahead and hop right into it. The top of the order. All right, let's get this thing started. Here it is, the top of the order. The NBA playoffs, fellas, is getting gooder and gooder. If that's a word, if that's a phrase, if not, it is today, all right? So we got the Denver Nuggets and the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Nuggets take 2 in the Twin Cities. They defeat the Timberwolves 115-107, tied the series at 2. And Game 5 is today, Tuesday, when you listen to this, in Denver. The Joker had 35 points, fresh off of winning his third MVP in a row. Aaron Gordon had one of them games where he couldn't miss for nothing. He scored 27 points, and Jamal Murray had a quiet 19 points, but his buzzer beater at halftime was not as quiet in the face of Kevin Harlan, who earlier that night got inducted to the Minnesota Timberwolves Hall of Fame, got a jersey. Ant-Man had 44 points. Rudy Gobert, the defensive player of the year, he had 11 points, 14 rebounds. Mike Conley for the Timberwolves, he also had 15 points, 2 rebounds, and 9 assists. Fellas, we got us a series. What say you, Scotty D?
I say the reports of the Nuggets' demise were greatly exaggerated, because after the second game, when we talked last week, it was game 1 had just been completed the night before, and the Nuggets got dominated, and then it happened again in game 2 on their floor. And at that point, I thought, this is pretty bad for Denver, because I picked them to win the whole thing, and they did not look good. And everyone was declaring how great the Timberwolves defense looked and how unbelievable they looked. And then they came out flat in game 3, and the Nuggets ramped up like champions do. And it is tied now going back to Denver. And I feel like the pendulum has swung. I think maybe the proper adjustments were made. Plus, Murray, I think, was still not quite himself. He had been injured, and he was not quite himself the first couple games. Then he threw a heating pad, got mad, got a fine, got booed, and all of a sudden he's money again. And him and the Joker got a little bit more comfortable. And the Nuggets bench on Sunday night outscored the Timberwolves 27-13. They got some points off of turnovers, and it just looked more like the Denver team we saw last year that made their run to the championship. So, typically in the NBA, it works this way, where the next up and coming rival gives the champion team, the veteran team, a scare, and then they learn their lesson, and then they have to come back the next year. And I could be wrong. I mean, this series is tied 2-2. It's not like Denver has won, but it definitely feels like it's back in Denver's favor, and the Timberwolves are going through their learning experience.
Well, is either one of these teams going to win at home?
That's the thing. Yeah.
that was the real reason why I wrote off the Nuggets, was because you telling me Minnesota took 2 away from y'all in your house? Yeah, Minnesota's going to win a game, at least a game in their own. No, they will not. And
you think so, yeah.
And now the series is 0-0, best of 3, and Denver has home court advantage again. Man, game 5 is going to be pivotal. It's going to be huge. Who's going to come out? Will Minnesota be able to steal another one in Denver? Or will Denver be like, hey, bro, we are the reigning, defending, undisputed NBA national champions, or like they say, NBA world champions, because they play in two countries in the world. All right, cool. That's a whole nother topic. We might get into that a little bit later. But yes, if Aaron Gordon's scoring 27 points, yeah, that's tough. That's tough to overcome, because it's rarely ever about your stars. It's rarely ever about usually with teams, 1 or 2 players that are the focal point of the team. It's usually about your role players, sometimes the third player of the big 3, or that third player that, has superstar potential, et cetera, blah, 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 all that. Aaron Gordon's giving you 27, and Aaron Gordon, the shit can't miss. Yeah, you just pretty tough to overcome. And we've always known that was one thing that the Denver team has always been the deeper team out of all the teams in the playoffs, everything like that. And that's what is needed, depth in the playoffs. So, man, yeah, who the heck knows? And guess what? Eddie Cool, what say you about this?
Looking at this series, I was like, the Young Bucks, they got on them. they jumped on them early. But I said to myself, all right, it's going to come to a point where the Nuggets are going to have their back against the wall, and you're going to have to figure out something quick, fast, and in a hurry, because in the playoffs, you don't have that extended amount of time to do a whole lot of figuring out. You know, you got to read, react, fix it quick, fast, and in a hurry. I think the champions are resilient. The champions found a way to win in a hostile environment. Like you said, Jamal Murray finally got it. He finally got his temper together. I understand, temper, frustrations, things happen. We're all not perfect. But in the playoffs, you can't afford to do that. You can't afford to have a Pat Bev moment. You really can't afford to that. So when it comes to the Nuggets, man, I like what I'm seeing. They're starting to gel. They're really starting to play some team basketball. The role players are really starting to do something. But as you know, Aaron Gordon has that one game where he goes off, and I think he made like all of his shots but two, if I'm not mistaken. So the Nuggets are like, look, we're still here. We are the reigning and defending champs. We are going to fight. Next year might be a year in Minnesota, but as of right now, it is the Nuggets time. So the Nuggets gave the Timberwolves all they can handle, and on the Minnesota side of things, it got to be more than that, man. Karl-Anthony Towns, you got to do something. You have to do something. You can't just be all him, because if it's just all him, then Ant-Man's going to run out of gas eventually. He's going to run out of gas eventually, and then somebody else has to step up. I mean, Ant-Man had what, 44 points last night?
Yeah, 44.
Yeah. A whole nother 44 points. And I like what Ant-Man says. He's like, look, don't compare me to Jordan. Just compare me to being to being Anthony Edwards. And I love that. And I love that about him. Like, don't do it. Like, I see it, but I'm not gonna fall for
it. I hear Reggie Miller and his guys comparing him to Dwayne Wade. They said he looks more appropriate. That's a more appropriate comparison.
That makes sense.
Ant-Man said, don't compare me to Michael Jordan. And then in the very next game, did the Michael Jordan shoulder shrug. I was like, come on, bro. I know he's trying to like sort of dispel, like, because Michael Jordan is Michael Jordan. He's the greatest of all time. And that man's like, yo, don't anoint me dad just yet. Just let me be me.
Yeah.
But he's greatness personified, and maybe possibly the new face of the league, but you gotta get that first title, or at least be if Minnesota wins this series, Ant-Man is the new face of the NBA. If not,
what's crazy is that I remember very specifically the night that Jordan hit that shoulder shrug. He was on fire against Portland, and this dude wasn't born yet. Isn't that crazy?
Right.
Yeah. God, boy, you talking about feeling old. Whew.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, let's speaking of old, didn't we just talk about Reggie Miller, and you got a whole nother series over there that, wait a minute, is the opposite of this series, because all the games have been won at home. And Indiana decided, hey, when you come to this small market city, Rick Carlisle, don't ever say that again. But when we got a distinct advantage when you come to our house. So Indiana has evened up. It's evened up 2-2.
Yep.
Who would have thunk it? Tyrese Halliburton is like, hold on, play. Y'all discounted me before. It was all about Jalen Brunson. Y'all forgot who I am. They don't know who we be. They don't.
Yeah. So the Knicks, absolutely, they said, wait a minute. We got something to say too. And also, I'm sorry, the Pacers like, you know what? Don't count us out yet. It's not over. It's not done with. Yes, we're in the middle of Indiana. Yes, it's small as hell. But guess what? We got hard as well too. Tyrese Halliburton, he had 20 points and 6 rebounds for the Pacers. Meanwhile, Alec Burns for the Knicks, he had 20 points, and Jalen Brunson on the other end had 18 points too. Do y'all think, with the New York Knicks style of play, with guys like Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson playing an extended amount of minutes, Do you think as the series progresses, they'll start to wear down a little bit, or will they get stronger? Because we know that Coach Tom Thibodeau, he'll ride it till the wheels fall off. That's exactly what he does. So, what say you, Scotty D? What you think?
Well, you definitely in this situation, if you're playing all these extra minutes, it's gonna be harder on the road, because when you're at home, you get that lift from the home crowd and a little bit more of an adrenaline push and a little bit more momentum. You're used to seeing your own basket. I think it's hard for the Knicks right now because they're running out of gas because they're down players. Randall hasn't been there at all, and what's my man OG Anunoby? Yeah,
Anunoby.
Yeah, he's out now, and Brunson is a little bit banged up, and and Indiana's got young legs and they're young, exciting team. So I can see the Knicks, if they pull this series out, it would have to be in 7 at home, because I don't think they're going to win in Indiana. If Indiana can steal one, if they can steal, that series tied, right? 2-2.
Yep, 2-2. Yep.
Yeah. So if they steal game 5, then it's going to be over for New York. I think they're not going to win in Indiana.
Ooh, buddy. Scotty D, you will appreciate this stat real quick, because game 4, Indiana won 121-89, and it wasn't even close. And usually when it comes to blowouts like that, I like to go to the infamous 3-point percentage, where the New York Knicks shot 7 for 37 for a whopping 18.9% from 3. So once again, shoot it. Shoot the 3. Just keep shooting it.
Just keep putting them on up there.
Just keep putting them up.
Keep bombing away. Just keep bombing away.
Yep. It was a disaster. Jalen, like I said, that was the first thing I looked at. When you said Jalen Brunson only scored 18 points, I was like, yeah, that ain't gonna do it. It ain't gonna do it at all. He was the only starter that scored in double digits.
You need help. You got to get help there.
And so it's it didn't look pretty. Wasn't pretty. It ain't gonna be pretty. I think the Knicks are running out of gas, and there's a legit concern to be there. I don't know if there is a timetable for Anunoby to return.
He's working out in the pool right now. It doesn't sound like a guy ready to come back.
In the pool,
working out in the pool.
Wow. On the other side, where the Pacers had 6 players in double figures, like I said, Tyrese Halliburton doing Tyrese Halliburton things, and they're just a little bit younger, a little bit springier, et cetera, et cetera. Yep. Pacers in 6, I'm calling that. I think they're going to win the next 2. I think just the Knicks. Sorry, Knicks fans, but I really don't care for the entire city, New York City, and all of the above, because walk off from the Mets yesterday. Mets won yesterday. My Hurricanes are fighting the Rangers. I'm the city of New York is not my friend right now. Sorry, Angel. I know you live in Queens, but I don't even like you anymore either. All right, I'm kidding.
Not your sister, dog.
Well, I'm just saying, she changed.
Your sister, dog. You gonna do that to her?
Right now, yeah. I don't like none of the. She lives in Queens. She's right there. She probably caught the ball that came over the fence. I'm just kidding.
Stand on the rooftop. Hey, brother, look what I got for you. Let me throw that mess back. I don't want it back. No, but in the other series, we got the Celtics and the Cavaliers. Boston up 2-1 over the Cavaliers. And let's see, the other series, we got the Thunder and the Mavericks. Dallas leads 2-1. And as we said last week, Kyrie is keeping the main thing, and still playing good basketball. And the Celtics and the Cavaliers are not going away quietly, but I think the Celtics might have something to say about that. They might have something to say about that. Jason Tatum, wake up! What you doing?
I think game 2 was a fluke. Celtics gonna win this in 5.
Yeah, I think we both said that last week. We like Celtics in 5. So there's your one, Cleveland. At this point, you're in the second round. These are the supposedly best 8 teams. You shouldn't get swept. If you're in a position where your team's good enough to get you this far into the postseason, you shouldn't get swept.
So you got to give the proverbial one, but I mean, we all know that Boston's the better team. But then again, I mean, Boston don't do it again where you have one of them games where you can't hit the broadside of a barn, and yet, you know what? I just want to pull up. I want to pull up the stat line just for Scotty D's sake, because you know me, I like silliness.
Keep shooting, baby. Just keep shooting. Let them fly.
They shot 8 for 35 from the 3-point line in that loss, whopping 22.9%. Oh, and I'm just gonna throw this out here. This just in, this NFL schedule will be on Wednesday, so Eddie Cool will know when we're going to Vegas. Yes.
Vegas does sound good, because I had a conversation with somebody. We'll talk about that off air. So that's the NBA playoffs. So right quick before we hop into our favorite portion of the show, because we got like 6 minutes left, there has been a debate, or even if you want to call it debate, so let's go ahead and say it like this. So the son of Doc Rivers, Austin Rivers, opened his mouth as he appeared on ESPN's Pat McAfee show on Tuesday and brought up a very outlandish idea that got everybody talking. And he said, I can take 30 players right now in the NBA and throw them in the NFL. And then he said, you cannot take 30 players in the NFL and throw them in the NBA. Huh? To me, it's just like, you look at guys like Antonio Gates, Tony Gonzalez, Mo Alley Cox, that played tight end for the Colts. You know, a lot of those guys, you know, they're the prototypical, you know, forwards in basketball. So they had to learn how to box out and call for the ball and learn how to be agile and quick on their feet and everything. And so, so James Jones clapped back and he said, "Look, man, you 6'4", 200 pounds, and you probably would have had a better." He said, "You probably would have had a better career in the NFL than you would in the NBA." And then James Jones went on to say, "You were a lottery pick. You averaged 9 points a game, 2 assists. He pretty much just went up and down and ate them up." I'm talking about like the way Kendrick Lamar ate up Drake, and then he just flat out said, "You probably wouldn't be there if it wasn't for your daddy." I was like, "Oh, Cole, what you think about this nonsense, Scotty D? About NBA player, about 30 NBA players can be playing the NFL? What you think about this?"
Well, he was right about there's not 30 players in the NFL could play in the NBA. That I think he's correct about. But to just say, "Oh, we got 30 guys that playing in the NBA that could waltz on into the NFL and play," that's a little silly to me, because, as you know, we had our friend Joel Turner, an agent who works with NFL players, on here a couple years ago, and he'll be the first to tell you there's a lot of really good football players who don't crack NFL rosters just because there's just not enough spots, and some of it has to do with the politics of the business too. Of you know, just that's just the way it goes. But to just say, because I'm athletically gifted, I could transition into the highest level of football, that's a little dismissive, I think, of what goes into becoming an NFL player. They said these guys every year, just the draft ended last week, and the next day each team picked up another 20 players or something to add to their roster, guys that are really good football players that probably won't make the team. There's that many per team that can't make it in the NFL, and you're going to tell me there's 30 guys in the NBA that just could? I think I can understand why James Jones was a little bit irritated by that comment.
Oh yeah, James Jones. He just lit his ass up. Go ahead, be live.
Eddie Cool, I need you to do me a favor. On the production side, I need you to take that clip of what Scotty D just said, and I need you to put the UFL logo at the bottom of that, because he literally just gave the best advertisement for the UFL. Scotty D, that's what I'm talking about, because there's so many great football players that not all of them make it to the NFL, but we have another league in the spring that can feature those players. Scotty D is a full-on advocate of the UFL. All right.
Now, because they're not interesting, so I don't watch that. I only watch interesting things.
Here we go. I knew he had a fire back. Yo, come on. This is the silliest conversation that we could ever have because it doesn't make any sense. Every guy that makes it to the top tier echelon, NBA, NFL, just say that. Do you understand that in sports in general, on the professional level, I think there's only been 2 players in all of the 4 major sports that have been on 2 different professional teams, and I'm talking about Bo Jackson and Deion Sanders. There may be a couple others out there, but nobody's done it. So
Jordan, wasn't it Brian Jordan for the Falcons played 2 sports?
Yeah, I met him. He's an incredibly nice guy. Yeah, he plays.
I don't think he played in the NBA though.
No,
that's what I mean. I don't know that there's been a couple that have played football and baseball like Deion, but I don't know that anybody has been in the NBA and in the NFL, at least not in the modern era.
And the thing about it is, on top of that, it's just you pick a sport for a reason. Like LeBron James did play basketball and football. Julius Peppers played football. Like there's been a few players, et cetera, et cetera. But at the end of the day, these guys are at the top tier of their respective sports for a reason. For them to just let some guy that doesn't even focus on the sport just to come waltz in, it's not going to happen. Austin Rivers, don't do that anymore. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Don't.
30 NBA players probably could play in the USFL or the whatever the Rocks League is.
Oh, here we
go. Boy, he got jokes. With that being said, as I'm looking at my phone, fellas, guess what time it is?
What time is it, bro? What time is it?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. This time once again for our favorite portion of the show, the choices of the voices. And B-Live, did you see Miss Button this weekend?
I did, absolutely.
I should have
lovely Miss Button.
I should have called her and told her, hey, yo, Button, hit it. Choice of the Voices coming at you right here on the Sports Bros Podcast.
In the meantime, in between time, check us out on another platform because we got sports here, sports there, and all that whatnot. But on Wednesday, we just break it down a little bit and we talk about mental health. And we ask everyone to let's check in with the Wellness Check Wednesdays podcast.
Feel free to join us. For more information, just check out our Wellness Check Wednesday page on Facebook. Click the link. And of course, let's check in.
Check in. See you on Wednesday.
And now, our favorite part of the show, the choices of the voices.
Once again, thank you to the wonderful and...
Go ahead, B-Live, you saw her.
Ever.
So lovely, Miss Button, for introducing our favorite portion of the show, the choices of the voices. Shout out to Miss Button. We greatly appreciate you for being the voice of the choices of the voices. Shout out to B-Live for seeing... he saw Miss Button this weekend. B-Live, you went to Oscars and got some wings, didn't you?
You know I did.
Yeah, man.
They are undefeated.
Yeah.
Oscars, Food and Spirits, North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. If you have not been, you are missing out. Oh, and it never misses. It never misses. Carmelo Hayes. Oscars is him. Never miss. God almighty. You know the wing is good when you bite into it and the steam just immediately just erupts from it's oh God. So good, man. Oh, yep. And when
what kind did you get? What kind did you get?
I got the lemon pepper. I normally get the garlic parm, but I didn't want it to be all messy and everything. So I got the dry rub lemon pepper, and it's just
you probably had a long night of karaoke ahead of you. You really didn't want to spread garlic all over all over the Devil and Down to Georgia fans.
I'm not doing. We ended up catching some live music at Backyard. It was such a good time. Shout out to my man Clifton Lewis and his new fiance Dana. I got to meet her this weekend. really, really good time. So, all right, let's get into it. All right,
I had the Raging Cajun back in March.
Oh man,
Try
okay. We could talk about this all day long, especially with my big back energy. Eddie Cool, Amtrak, this thing. Let's get it.
Oscar's cut the check. But anyways, this is the choice of the voices. Well, we ask the question and y'all give us the answer. With that being said, Scotty D, what's on Tickety Tap? Choices of the voices.
So I asked this past week to share with us bets that you've made in the past, and again, it wasn't just a straight up monetary bet. It could be something that something you had to do, an activity you had to do as a loser or winner. I mean, and I don't know if I shared this with you guys, but I can remember when I was just a kid and the Cowboys and Steelers played in the Super Bowl, and Super Bowl 13, and the Cowboys lost. My dad had to run up and down the street with no shirt on because the Cowboys had lost the game, and that was really my most standout memory of Super Bowl 13 is looking out the window after the game and seeing my dad going up down the street with no shirt on. So anything like that would have been a good answer. We just were just talking bets in general. And I actually I want to share this with you guys. A young guy that I went to college with these past 2 semesters down in Waynesburg, a young man named Logan Lepiscopo wanted to share with me directly. He didn't put it on our thing, but he texted me, said, "Don't tell anybody how much money I won, but I had a pretty good one here recently." So he had one of those free bets for signing up for FanDuel, and one of these big parlays. And he hit by hitting 5 out of 5 in the NFL. He had Jordan Akins over 20.5 receiving yards, Derrick Henry over 117 rushing, Gabe Davis over 36 receiving, DJ Moore over 57.5 receiving, Devontae Smith over 50.5 receiving. So he hit 5. All of them hit the over, which is crazy because into all of them hit that way, and he won himself a nice little chunk of change. So just wanted to share that good fortune and tell you, don't count on that happening, Logan, because the first time I ever played FanDuel, I hit it wasn't a parlay or bet. It was one of those fantasy baseball ones, and I think I hit $50 the first time and 20 the second time, and then the next 22 times I didn't hit any. Yeah. So I quit playing the fantasy baseball ones, but that's pretty impressive to hit 5 out of 5 on one of your first plays. And I want to say congratulations because Logan, who was really a big help to me. He did my first basketball game and first baseball game with me at Waynesburg. Just accepted a multimedia position with Erie News Now. So congratulations on your first job out of college, and take a coat because it's cold up there in Erie.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
So Eddie, what else did the people say?
Scotty D, maybe one day we can get Logan to come on the podcast. If you can make that.
That's a great idea. Maybe we'll see if we can't make that happen at some point.
Great. All right, so here we go. Let's go ahead and hop right into this one. All right. So Rambus Evans and Bruce Diamond. There's a picture. I see a picture here. He's like, my mustache game with the Chiefs versus the Bills, and somebody had to rock a mustache or cut the mustache off. Like, what the hell happened here?
So going back to the overtime days, I'm sporting my overtime shirt here today. Yeah, you recognize where that is, Be Live, in that picture?
Yeah.
So that is the back deck built as the quote unquote smoker's deck that everyone actually just really enjoyed hanging out back at overtime. So both of these guys were growing out mustache. What's I guess it's no shave September or whatever.
November. Yeah, no shave
November. No shave November. That must have been what this was. And they both had their stashes going out, and the Bills and Chiefs were playing, and whoever lost had to shave their mustache. So the Bills beat the Chiefs, and I think it was Button's sister Velcro was out there and gave Rambus the shave. You can see the clippers in Bruce's hand from that. I find it strange though that the winner kept the mustache. You would have thought just the opposite, because those mustaches were horrible back then. But anyway, that was Rambus's story for us, and thank you for sharing that one.
Got a darn woolly bear caterpillar running across your lip.
I will say this one thing real quick. Do not bet Rambus in bowling head-to-head. Rambus is an incredible bowler. Definitely one of the guys I looked up to when we bowled together and everything. Guy is incredible on the lanes. Very good friend of mine. So shout out to Rambus for that. Absolutely.
A bowler too. I'm just like, you're a bowler. Yeah.
Oh boy. All right, move right along. We got Brad Thomas. He said, I quit cold turkey many years back, but I was loyal when you did me well. The Buffalo Bills won the conference in 2008. Won the conference. I mean, I'm sorry.
The Bulls, Buffalo Bulls.
I'm sorry.
Talking college. Yeah, college football, I think.
I'm sorry. Buffalo Bulls. I'm sorry. I don't know the difference between an I or a U. The Buffalo Bulls won the conference in 2008 after winning for me 4 or 5 games in a row. I went on the money line on the conference championship at like plus 18.5, and they won. Probably lost what I won after buying shots for the whole bar. See, that's me. We gotta take your money and get the hell on. Yeah, you can't be.
You get about half of it once you get into a bar scene. Be Live, you could probably speak on that.
That's not necessary. What?
I'm talking about somebody who wins bets.
Whatever.
That was the old be like. All right, Matty Ice Martin Tracy said, I was in 2 NCAA tournament pools, one originating from the legendary Overtime. I think we need to produce an Overtime sports documentary. For real. Yep. I was the only one who had Memphis winning it all that year. They played Kansas. Derrick Rose only had to sink 1 of 6 free throws, and the game was over. But as history would have it, Mario Chalmers hit a game-tying 3-pointer, and Kansas wins in overtime. Boy, I remember that one. Between both pools, I won $600, but had Memphis pulled it out, and I would have won over. Had Memphis pulled it out, he would have won over $2,000. Oh, boy.
$1,400 difference. Yeah.
God told me. All right, we got Trey Dizzle, but I'm gonna save the best for last, of course. All right, we got Keegan Robbins. We got the Yellow Jackets in the house. Here we go. All right, so he says this past season I put down a huge money line parlay with every game that weekend. It was when the 49ers and Eagles were still undefeated. Payout would have been $3,000. Every team in my parlay won except for the Niners and the Eagles, who took their first L of the season, and it was heartbreaking. Put in a little bit of money to win a lot of money and get nothing. No soup for you.
Yeah. Oh, man. I think we have to put like a disclaimer. If you or a loved one is having difficulty with gambling, call 1-800-OUR-BAD. 1-800-OUR-BAD. Seek help. Wellness Check Wednesday. No, I'm just kidding. Something like that. The Gamblers Anonymous Hotline or whatever.
Was it New York?
3,000. Woo! Oh, that hurt. That
hurts. Last but not least, fellas, we have Trey Duke, and let's get ready for this one. I bet somebody in 2016 that Dak Prescott would end his career with the losing record in the playoffs as a starter. I bet $200, 7-1 off 7-1.
Probably 7-1 odds.
Yeah, I'm like, who's off? 7-1 odds. 1,400 to me. If he keeps his current pace, I'm golden. It's a win-win for me. Either I'm wrong and Dallas wins a lot with him in the postseason, or I'm right and I get paid $1,400. I've never doubted I'd be getting the money though, because Dak is a walking dumpster fire filled with Jerry Jones's money. Oh boy, save the best for last.
I think there's a good chance that's a true story.
What?
I think that's true. I think he sends us a lot of silliness when it comes to Dak, but I think this is true. I'll get confirmation on that later, but I'm pretty sure that's a true story.
It wouldn't surprise me not in the slightest.
Yeah, we'll get our interns work on that. They finally made their way back from Miami. They took the mega bus, but they made their way back from Miami. So anyways, shout out to everybody for their participation in this week's Choices of the Voices. All right, I'm going to go first because I have I made a bet and it is still unpaid, but I'm going to go ahead and make it up shortly. One of my managers at work, I think he betted me something on fantasy football or whatever. I lost big. He won big. I was supposed to give a 6-pack of Bell's Two-Hearted IPA beers. That was about 5 years ago, and I think he forgot. Over to you, Scotty D.
Oh, so you're still in the IOU. You're still in the red.
Yeah, but I'll make it up to him real soon, though. The thing about it is, I'm in the good because he forgot all about it. But go ahead, Scotty D.
Well, this one just popped into my mind. I wasn't going to mention this, but when Keegan talked about losing that one with Philadelphia and San Francisco. It reminded me, when I worked at Overtime and I was a manager there for several years, I would run a yearly Super Bowl square. I would sell Super Bowl squares, run the pool for them. And one year I was down, it was on Friday, I was down to like the last 2 squares. And I asked one of the young girls working with me if she wanted one. She said, I don't really know anything about it. I said, here, it's only $10. You take this one, I'll take this one. Well, you can see where this is going. The one that she took ended up hitting twice.
I'll be down.
And it happened if you guys remember, I'm not sure which game it was, but because the Patriots seemingly were playing every year in the Super Bowl at that time, Tom Brady was flagged for a safety for throwing the ball down the middle of the field. And that 2 points was the difference between that block hitting and my block hitting. And it cost me hundreds of dollars that night. I was sick about it. But I was happy for her, but I could have actually used the money right there. So I was a little bit more upset for me than I was happy for her. That kind of outweighed. But in 2008, the Penguins played the Detroit Red Wings in the Stanley Cup Finals and lost. We had high hopes as Penguin fans going into the following season, but things were not going well as around January. So I laid $50 on the Penguins to win the Stanley Cup, even though at the time they would not have even made the playoffs. They were a couple of spots below. Well, as luck would have it, they got a little hot, and they came all the way back and they won the Stanley Cup. And it paid off $750 for me, and I was super happy. And I actually was so excited when they won. I was jumping up and down because they had won the Stanley Cup, and someone said, "Didn't you win the bet too?" I was like, "Yes, I did." That's even better news for me. So it was a great night to hit a one of those long-term bets. It wasn't just a bet on that single game, but it was a bet that I had laid down months prior. So I had a good and a bad there. B-Live, what you got?
Oh man, I got a couple myself, and I'm gonna try to keep this short. Time restraints and all. But
Eddie, I want to make a bet that B-Live can't keep it short. What are the odds on B-Live? Go ahead.
What's the over under? No, I'm just
go ahead.
Okay.
Over 17 minutes. I'll take the over.
I can't stand you. Let me go ahead and throw out the hashtag all roads lead to Dabo.
Here we go.
Is back in 2016. I was at Carolina Ale House here in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and I did not know at the time this was the Ohio State official meeting place, blah blah blah, yada yada.
Oh boy.
Yeah, exactly.
Here we go.
And I'm in my Clemson Applebee's polo because I just got off of work early. I want to see Clemson play at 4:00. And I did. Clemson did his thing. I realized I had been drinking. I was like, oh, crap, I'm in my Applebee's polo. Ran home, grabbed my Clemson jersey, and was causing a ruckus. Next thing you know, got a whole bunch of people come rolling in, and all I hear is, oh, wait, whoa, what the, oh, hell no. Then I'm like, and I'm giving people the business. I'm like, oh, wait, hell no. And then the general manager of Carolina Ale House comes by. He's like, can't be antagonizing all the people. Like, me and him have been friends for a minute. And I was like, I'm like, don't tell me you're an Ohio State fan too. And he said, yeah. I was like, you know what?
God, dog.
I'm just in the middle of a mess. And so push come to shove, across the season, whatever. Comes to find out that Ohio State and Clemson make it to the college football playoff and are set to go against each other. And I said, you know what? When we talked to each other, it was a bet. Casey Yingling, Clemson wins. He said, bet good, Casey Yingling. Clemson proceeds to beat the brakes off Ohio State by the tune of 31-0.
We got him.
Shut up.
We got him.
Oh my God, I am giving him the business. He honored the bet. That was the most delicious Yingling that's ever happened in the history of beer. Now that's my good win. Now the other side of that, fantasy football. I was in this league that at Max Speed Shop, a bunch of us just friends and whatnots, and the bet for the fantasy football league is that the loser has to get a tattoo. And as it sits today, I have a tattoo of a spider. Now the tattoo had to be out of a gumball machine, a little where it like had little random little designs or whatever. And I pulled a spider and I got a tattoo of a spider. The only tattoo I got was because I lost a bet.
Wow.
I have ink for the rest of my life because I lost a bet. Now I say this, Paul Odom, the last year of the league, you lost. You were last place. Where is your tattoo? I'm never going to let it go. Paul Odom, look at me. Look at me. We want the tattoo. I'm saying this live publicly. Episode 250, Paul Odom, you're getting that tattoo. Get it. Get it.
He said, where's the
did I just hit the over? Did I hit the over? I think I just won.
You did not.
The over.
You didn't.
You said 17 minutes.
17.
You went under.
You lost.
I think I went over.
You lost.
All right. So that does it for another action-packed, exciting, exhilarating, and thrilling edition of the Choices with the Voices. Scotty D, what the hell we gonna talk about next week?
Okay, so next week we're gonna ask you to share with us the first time you ever went to a sporting event, and I'm not talking about like your sister's softball game down at the corner. I'm talking about either a professional sporting event or like a major college sporting event, that type of thing. So that'll give us something to talk about next week. Or even if you don't want to talk about your first, if it was uneventful and there was one of your early ones that you want to share, we'll take that too. Something very memorable came out from an early sporting venue. But if you have if you have a good memory of your first ever time going to a major sporting event, let's talk about that one. Eddie Cool, that'll give us something to talk about.
That was hilarious. Not talking about your sister's softball game around the corner. All right, that does it for another edition of the Choices of the Voices. Coming up next, Be Live. You know what to do. Open up that door and grab that pepper grinder. It's time for a round of pepper. Coming up right here after this on the Sports Bros Podcast.
Okay, boys, let's bring it home with a round of pepper.
Well, you heard the woman. It's time for us to go home and get what we call the hell up out of here. But before we go, pepper, you know how we do it, a round of it. 3 rapid fire topics, kind of sort of not really here to engage, enlighten, educate, and entertain. The 4 E's in no particular order, but they always wind up in that order. But that's neither here nor there, not today or tomorrow. With that being said, I'll go first. You're going to love this one, fellas. You may or may not, and Scotty D might boggle your mind. On this day in history, in 2016, competitive surfer Gabriel Medina becomes the first surfer ever to land the move, the backflip in competition. Just imagine you surfing, the next thing you know, pew, you do a backflip.
I think it's impressive they can even stand on a board on moving water.
Exactly.
Yeah, moving water, you're trying to gain, because I saw how he do it, and he did a backflip. I'm like, yeah, that's a pepper. I looked it up, I said, yeah, why not? Over to you, Scotty D.
Congratulations on that one. That's impressive. Yeah. All right, so 5 players in the history of golf have won the modern 4 majors: Tiger, Jack Nicklaus, Gene Sarazen, Gary Player, and Ben Hogan. And every year we talk about Rory getting his chance for the career Grand Slam again at the Masters, and he came up short. But this week, there's another individual who has a chance to do it, and that is the Forgotten Quest for the Fourth by Jordan Spieth, who, when he came onto the scene, was seemingly winning all the time every week, and he still needs that PGA Championship for the career Grand Slam. And he's 30 years old, so it seems like he has time to do it. But you don't want to keep putting that off, Jordan, if you can help it. He hasn't been playing well. Having said that, I'm picking Xander Schauffele to win the PGA this week. Be Live, over to you.
I love the segue, and this is going to be different this week because all 3 of my pepper points are going to be third pepper points. I'm coming in hot this week. And this segue, because we're going to stick with golf, and we're going to start off by the Wells Fargo Championship, where Rory McIlroy won by 5 strokes this week. That's not the pepper point, though, because there was another PGA event that was going on this weekend as well, and it just so happens to be in our backyard, in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
Myrtle Beach, Myrtle Beach, Myrtle Beach.
Yes, the Myrtle
I
Beach
love Myrtle
Classic.
Beach.
The Myrtle Beach Classic, the first PGA event here in there in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. It was at the Dunes Golf and Beach Club, and Chris Gotterup was the winner of that event. The inaugural event broke records for the PGA Tour with attendance with over 15,000 people attending this event, which would be the most of a first event in the PGA Tour history. Oh, wow. That's not the Pepper Point, though, because Myrtle Beach is still, I know the area may not be country, but the people are country. So, you normally see the quiet signs, quiet now, quiet, that they have the signs at the golf events. Well, Myrtle Beach ain't gonna do it like that. Instead of quiet, the sign said, "Hush, y'all."
I knew it. I knew it. Hey, y'all, hush. I knew it.
Hush, y'all was the signs carried at the Myrtle Beach Classic. You just gotta love it. Eddie Cool. The ball.
Was Xavier Leggett holding the sign? Anyways.
Yeah. By the way, just to add a little extra nugget on that, on a cold February morning in the early 2000s, I actually 5-putted a green on that golf course.
Ah.
My partner said, "You realize you would have bogeyed if you'd have started on the green." Pretty bad.
Oh man.
Golf, you gotta love it.
That's me. Like, don't ruin my moment. Don't kill my buzz. Don't mess up my high. All right, so moving right along, fellas. We were talking about NBA players going to the NFL, NFL players going to the NBA, but we have one that may have cracked the mold. B-Live, you remember a dude by the name of Devin Funchess?
Yep.
Used to play for Carolina. Used to play for several other teams too. Well, Devin Funchess is playing for the Caribbean Storm Lorenos in the Professional Columbia Basketball League, according to Pro Football Talk. He has a deal for the team's 28-game season. Now, he is the first former NFL player to sign a pro basketball contract, per Cassidy Hill said it on the team website. And it's a little bit personal for Devin Funchess. He said, "I told my grandfather as a kid, I said, man, I'm going to win a Super Bowl," which he didn't. "And then I'm going straight to basketball," Funchess told Hill. It was during the COVID that Funchess renewed his interest for becoming a pro basketball player while at home in Florida. Funchess' cousin, McDonald's All-American Aiden Holloway, was dribbling a basketball in the driveway, and Funchess had not picked up a basketball in years. In risk of injury, but Holloway convinced Funchess to join him. Shout out to Devin Funchess, man, getting it done on both sides of the ball. Over to you, Scotty D.
All right, I watched the UFC this past weekend, and Derek Lewis knocked out a guy by, well, you know what? It doesn't even really matter. He won by knockout, and he has the most knockouts in UFC history. But then when it was over, he took off his pants, threw his cup to an observer at ringside, and the guy caught it for some reason. And then he proceeded to moon the crowd. Now, mooning a crowd, you would think would draw a bad reaction, but they loved it. And I loved it because Derek Lewis is like the biggest baby face in the UFC. He's 38 years old. He says he doesn't know how long he wants to keep doing this. But Derek Lewis, if you're going to keep doing, I am here for it. Rumors, rumblings, he could be headed to the WWE at some point in the near future. Derek Lewis, the Black Beast. Keep up the good work, my friend. Be live. Over to you.
Literally showed his ass.
His ass. I thought to say he literally showed his ass. All right, man. Oh, man. All right. My third pepper point comes by way of college football.
I got the over.
Here you go.
Well, when it comes to recruiting and transfer and all the things like that, you usually transfer from a college football school to another college football school. This is not the case. Monty Harrison has played over a decade of baseball at the highest level, Major League Baseball, He played 3 seasons in Major League Baseball, over a decade in baseball altogether. He is 28 years old, and he decided he's going to transfer from Major League Baseball to to play college football at Arkansas. The 28-year-old will be playing wide receiver for the Razorbacks. So he said, Chris Winkie, hold my beer. I'm going to be the oldest college football player ever. He was a 4-star prospect in high school 10 years ago. Let's see how this actually works out. So we got a lot of transferring of sports in this podcast. So Monty Harrison, do what it do. And Stan Sagley, there's your star recruit. He's a diehard Arkansas fan. Eddie Cool, the ball.
I should have walked on at Waynesburg. I should have walked on.
Might as well. Hell, he about to pull a damn Tim Frisbee and be like, what's that brother name from South Carolina State? Look that up for me. But anyways, third and final pepper point. If you think you're going to be seeing Carmilla Cardosa, Angel Reese, Rihanna Stewart, and all them girls, Lady Hoopers, in your airports, flying domestic, think again, because Delta Airlines, according to Forbes, sponsors the WNBA charter flights for the 2024 season. All right. Charter flights will undoubtedly enhance the players' safety and well-being, with the WNBA PA president and Seattle Storm player Nika Ogumake noting, on behalf of the players, I express my appreciation and support for a bold move by the commissioner and team governors that in turn shows that they understand and value the health and safety of players. It is time to be transformational, and it's time to bet on women. It's a step in the right direction. They're getting charter flights. And if you want to watch some WNBA games, you can catch them in several places. One being ESPN, and number 2 being the Ion TV network. That's for anybody that has cable. I forgot that existed. But anyways, girls are going to be flying first class and not worry about no crying babies, farting fat dudes, none of that. So shout out to the ladies. Y'all finna get y'all own plane. Over to you, Scotty D.
I'm considering watching an NBA game this year. Just like a decision I'm thinking of. All right, so this I got to put my good glasses on for this last one to make sure I'm coming at you correctly. So
not the Dollar Tree readers, but he gonna put the good readers on the lens. These are good.
You guys are clear. B-Live, you looking very nice today, by the way. So I've mentioned this to you guys in some messaging over the weekend, but since Steven Strasburg made his debut against the Pirates many, many years ago, this was the most anticipated Major League Baseball debut, with Paul Skeens getting the ball for the Pirates this past Saturday. And Skeens, who was they couldn't get him to the major leagues fast enough. He's 21 years old. They drafted him out of LSU last year. Everyone wants him there real quick. And he made his debut, and he's pitched 4+ innings, 7 strikeouts, looked really good through 17 out of 84 pitches over 100 miles per hour. 3 earned runs. Now here's the where it gets a little tricky. In that 4th inning, he gave up 2 hits, and with 84 pitches, he was pulled. Derek Shelton, Pirates manager, didn't want him to go past his pitch limit. So the next guy comes in, Kyle Nicholas, strikes out the next 2 batters, then proceeds to hit a batter, walk. 3 runs come in now. The Pirates' 6-1 lead is going away. In comes Josh Fleming, walk, infield hit, and then rain delay, and now it is tied 6-6 for the next 2.5 hours. So when they come back from the delay, Colin Holderman gets the ball, walk. So the Pirates are now trailing 8-6, and the ball has not been hit out of the infield. They've given up. They went from 6-1 down to 8-6. Now, fortunately, the Pirates would come back and win that game 10-9. But if you're going to manage Paul Skeens, do better, because if he's not ready to pitch more than 80 pitches, why is he here? Keep him down. Stretch him out. Too late for all that. He's here. And he brought his hot girlfriend, Livy Dunn, with. Go to some reels. Check out Livy Dunn. Anyway, let's go Bucks. B-Live. Take us home.
Oh, man. Yeah, that dude's throwing some heat. Yes.
And he has one of those mustaches that probably need to go. I just say.
Yeah, I saw that he got a woolly bear growing across his lip too.
He does. Yeah.
Oh man, coming in hot with my third pepper point because, like I said, and this has got to be a banger. Well, we're gonna go to college football, and we've talked about different bowl games and the ridiculousness of the names and whatever, but this one absolutely takes the cake. We're gonna go to Arizona, where the game was previously sponsored by Barstool Sports in Tucson, Arizona, and it pairs the teams from Mountain West and the Mid-American conferences. We'll see how that figures out and everything. But the Arizona Bowl has a new sponsor and it has a new name. And the name of the bowl is the new Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl, presented by Gin and Juice by Dre and Snoop. That is the entire name of the bowl. The Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl, presented by Gin and Juice by Dre and Snoop. Dre and Snoop have released a new signature cocktail, actually named Gin and Juice. Rolling down the street, smoking Indo, sipping on gin and juice.
Half of them kids can't drink anyway, legally.
Right. This is the first time that an alcoholic beverage has sponsored a college football bowl. Snoop Dogg is everywhere. Gin and juice. And
I love it.
Mm-hmm. His intent is to bring the juice back to college football. Yeah, that's
who doesn't love Snoop? Who doesn't love Snoop?
Right.
No.
I was
tickets aren't free, but the contact buzz is.
That's the title of the show.
Coming to you soon, the Myrtle Beach Bowl, sponsored by the Sports Bros podcast, that includes Scott Donnelly, the Money Man, the Almighty Be Live, and the Head. I mean, that's how long the title has to be, because
it's gonna be that long. It's gonna be the logo, the event logo, and then the hell
that is
it.
This? That is our goal. We're going to have a college football bowl named after us, the Sports Bros podcast, and also to make some money. So to all those people that were betting and making crazy bets and parlays and everything, we need sponsors. Bet on us, the Sports Bros podcast. Take the over on Scotty D referencing something dumb about the Cowboys, the Yankees, and the Lakers. See, I threw it in there for you. Bet on that. Bet on Be Live, talking a whole bunch of nonsense and talking way longer than he should. And then bet on Eddie Cool with some incoherent rambling every single episode at the beginning. You can bet on that. We need the sponsors. Yes, sir. Who Oscars. This ain't free.
It's gonna cost you.
It ain't free.
DraftKings, eventually, it's gonna cost you. Scotty D, I think you want our bet. Nah, I'm just gonna think you want
FanDuel. This ain't free.
It's
over here advertising bets and everything. And then closing.
Yep. Well, that's all we got. And thank you for listening to another episode of the Sports Worlds podcast. And then in closing, do something nice for someone else. And if you can, do something nice for yourself. And if you can, be a blessing, not a burden. I botched it all up, but after 249, 50 episodes, you know what the hell I mean. Do something nice for yourself. And if you can, do something nice for someone else, they'll greatly appreciate it now more than ever. It's been another episode of the Sports Worlds podcast. I've been working out. These arms look good. And Be Live, take us to the house.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hey, it's Eddie Cool here from the Sports Bros podcast. Thank you for listening, and as always, continue to follow us on all of our social media platforms. Just click the link in the description box and keep up with the Sports Bros podcast. And once again, thanks for listening.